Hello, welcome. Welcome to what? Welcome to Discovering the World of Natural Health. I'm your host, Claiborne Holtzman. If you could do just one thing to change your life and your health, what would it be? What's important to you? What are you reaching out every day? What are you trying to accomplish? And at the end of the day, we should be able to lay our head on the pillow and say, I am really excited about what's going on and what I was able to accomplish today. It's important. One of the things that I believe is happening more than ever is that we are having to become independent thinkers. By that I mean what we have to say, what we think, and what we perceive our life should be like and how it should be and how it really is something that you and I have to come to terms with. I am looking forward to being able to say, because of something I don't agree with, something I have issues with, something that came along and changed my life and my world, then I am going to be different because of it. Because it doesn't go according to the status quo. I look back on my life and I think about circumstances. I think about the positives, I think about the negatives. But most of all, I think about what is. And then I wonder sometimes. I had someone share with me over the week, since we last met, that we should not worry about what didn't happen because that may not be what was supposed to happen. I challenge you, give yourself the gift of understanding who you are and what you want to accomplish. What is it about health? What is it? I use the book and I love it. And we've got the latest edition. This is the old copy, but a lot of the information here is still the same. I go back and I look at books that I have read and used over the decades that we've been doing this. And I am so happy to know that we have been able to accomplish great things. I was amazed, and I was reminded this morning on a phone conversation we were on that said, Claiborne, we are blessed to have you in our community. We are blessed to have you have a health food store, a post office, all of that for the people in our community, and that it was a good thing. This individual, whom I respect greatly, you would know of him if you didn't know him personally, that has reached out to the community as well. He's sown his seed of love and caring and making a difference and wanting to continue to do so. But what I'm leading up to is this. He said, Claiborne, you made a difference. Don't stop now. Continue to make a difference. And by that, he was saying that, and he went on to tell me what he was saying, let's put it that way, because I stopped in the middle of my conversation very simply because, let's put it this way. If you tell me you feel a certain way, and it's your feelings and it's your belief, I just will shut up and be quiet and listen, because that's who you are at the moment. And if you want to know anything about me, then you have got to open up the door and say, I am willing to listen to your feelings. I already got my feelings, but I'm willing to listen to your feelings. So I will give you the love and respect that you need as an individual. And so the individual, I'll let it sound a little tongue twisty there, stated, over the years, and they have known us ever since we started out in Tarboro with Nature's Creations. Then it was Nature's Herbal Creations. And then we moved and said, remedy this naturally. All of that to say this: you have an influence. I was being told I had an influence, positive, helpful, and gave people an understanding that God has more than one way of doing things. And if you will really think about how things are done and what the motive is and how someone is getting the concept that they believe in across to others. And now it's been pretty tough for people to be able to explain how they feel, what they believe, because we don't have a balance in respect for someone else. And someone got to talk to me about a narcissist this week and how it's all about them. I ain't even going to go there. But the thing is, I came in today to do this broadcast and came kind of what you call pumped up, because it was a time that we got a positive. A couple of days ago, it was a negative about how we should do this, how we should do that, and someone had a better idea or better suggestion than what we were doing. So, what can you do? What's your prescription for natural healing? What is your way of looking at things to make it possible for us to enjoy life and do it with a natural approach? I grabbed a couple of things today, and it's just, sometimes things just jump out at you. And we've talked about this before, and this is a great one of the texts we had years ago, and understanding what the brilliant body is all about. And we do. And here it is. We just got it in here, brought it up, and it talks about the digestive system, what constitutes it. And why did I bring that up? Because if you can't digest it, you can't assimilate it. If you can't assimilate it, you cannot get the benefit that it's supposed to give the body you just put it in. So that to me is the key factor when it comes to the digestive system. You know, if you don't chew the food, and people look at me like, how many times I need to chew my food? You're going to say, ain't no way. But I'm going to give you the answer so you can say there ain't no way. Because how many of you have sitting next to you and you come up and you put your big 2-liter, let's see what I'm eating, drinking, energy. That's the name of the one that's in there today. How do you give the body the ability to digest the food? When we're young, we can quote unquote eat nails and get energy from it. But the digestive system is where it all starts. As again, I'll repeat, if you can't digest it, you can't assimilate it. If you can't assimilate it, you cannot get the nourishment you need that is pertinent for the chemistry in the body we live in to become who it needs to become. Okay? That was digestive system. The other one called the nervous system, and that is Brilliant Body Series. And has anyone ever told you how electrifying you are? Well, even if no one has told you this, you are an electrical being. Now, think about that for a minute. You and I are electrical. We think about what's bringing this, the lights that are shining in the studio as we're doing this. And oh, by the way, for recording purposes, we're doing this live on Monday, March the 22nd. So, Brittany, that'll help you, okay? Thank you. Every part of your body is interconnected. We're connected, interconnected by a communication system of nerves. And these nerve cells are called neurons that send a message through a combination of, listen carefully, electrical impulses and chemical messengers. We are talking about your nervous system. Of course, the system that wires you together. I like that pun on words, wires us together. Your nervous system is incredibly complex, especially your brain, which contains about 100 billion neurons. In fact, the brain houses 98% of the neurons in the body. This control center of the body is protected by your skull, and its importance is demonstrated by the fact that although it makes up only 2% of the body's weight, it ain't much, is it? The brain uses about 25% of your body's oxygen supply and as much as 20% of the sugar that's needed. Since the brain has such a high metabolism, it is highly affected by what you eat. Although modern medicine has historically tended to discount the role of nutrition in mental health, studies have shown strong links between your nutritional intake and various neurological, psychiatric conditions. Furthermore, research has also shown that food choices made during pregnancy, lactation, and early childhood may have long-term consequences on a child's mental development. Other research suggests that good nutrition can improve your brain function and reduce your risk of brain disorders. It's critical how we take care of the chemistry and the neurons that are there. Think about it for a moment when you have anything that quote unquote needs servicing, something that needs to be paid attention to, not wait till the last minute when it's broken to try to fix it and when you can only replace it. The phrase, "you are what you eat," particularly applies to the brain. You really don't think about it being that way. We think about it going back, and we think about it on the digestive system as to what we eat, not according to what we eat for the brain. But the brain is the hub. The brain is the finite piece of what we have to make it work. A junk food diet, listen carefully, short circuits your mental attitude, and your emotional response, creating, in effect, you're going to love this one. What happens when we eat the junk food? We're going to end up with a trashy brain. With the poor diet of most Americans, it's no wonder that nervous system disorders like stress, depression, anxiety, and insomnia affect millions of us Americans. It is also why we have increasing problems with Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and dementia as we add birthdays to our life. Just very simple, don't be smart about it, as we age. Most Americans are trying to run their delicate, you don't ever think about that being delicate, right? Computer system on the wrong voltage and are winding up feeling frayed, frazzled, and even fired. I said fired, fried. Stated simply, a good mind is a terrible thing to waste. Have you never heard that before? I have. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And we need to start caring for our brain and nervous system better. What can we do to take care of our nervous system? Folks, we're in a time more than ever we need good nutrition. You need to be thinking about a multivitamin. You need to be thinking about green food. You need to be thinking about B vitamins to help with your nervous system. You need to be thinking about what can I do because I feel this way. I have pain. I am upset. I can't take it anymore. All right, once you start doing that, what is it that will get you back to this famous word? What will you need to do to get back to what's known as homeostasis? Balance, balance, balance. We got to have it. Homeostasis. I think it's very important that we take some time in understanding the nervous system, because I would dare to say that a lot of you watching this program, you would love to be doing something else. But your health as it is at this very moment does not allow you to have the freedom that once you may have had, once that you want to have. And we need to reach out and find out what is it that I need to do to change this, change this, to change thump, 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 thump. What is it? What is it that's important for me to help me to become what my Creator designed me to be? And he will say, I will keep you in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. But where's our mind? Where's it going? What's it doing? How's it functioning every day? Important. Let's think about this for a moment. If we would consider our brain, the spinal column, and your peripheral nerves, the nervous system helps regulate everything. Everything that happens in our body. Whether it is happening conscientiously or unconsciously. Think about it. Most of us don't have to do anything to help us breathe. The person that's pulling around the oxygen tank wishes it could breathe without the support of that tank. So there's some things you're aware of, But before you start pulling that oxygen tank around, you probably didn't think too much about the nature of your breath. The conscious or voluntary part of your nervous system allows you to what? Perceive information. It's going to come through our senses. Analyze and remember information. And move your skeletal muscles to regulate conscious action. As we started out, we are all tied in together. And I'm coming back to it, but I'm just going to divert for a moment. I brought another little book. This little book here says, well, have to make it so you can read it, and it says immune system. And the immune system is the most diverse, fascinating of all body systems. It is extremely complex and intricate in the various ways its components interact. Immunity is still not fully understood and is a subject that holds many secrets. And we're talking about this for the last year. The last year we've been talking immune system. We need to get ourselves taken up. We need to be able to do something to be in control of this pandemic so it doesn't affect us. A whole year, folks. We set aside our lives and put it on hold because somebody did not understand the immune system. So, let me just give a little bit more about it, and then I'm going back to the nervous system. As we go about our daily lives, the immune system protects us against. What is the immune system? And this is so doggone important that we understand this. Our immunity protects us against billions of bacteria. Okay? Bacteria, viruses, toxins, free radical, and other parasites. Many of these microbes view our body as an all-you-can-eat restaurant and offers a never-ending supply of resources for their energy and reproduction. Fortunately for us, the myriad protections provided by the immune system make it difficult for the microbes to access these resources. What can we do for that? Think about what we're doing. No, you're looking at me and saying, no, think about what you're doing, Claiborne. I'm trying to figure it out. It's not hard to figure it out. Because what we have is very insensitive. We got to go. I've got to repeat it again. If you can't digest it, you can't ingest it, you can't get the benefit that you need for the nourishment that's coming from what we put in our mouth and swallow for, quote unquote, food. The autonomic nervous system is further divided into two branches: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Generally speaking, the sympathetic nervous system charges up or gets us wired up and prepares for activity. In contrast, the parasympathetic nervous system helps us to wind down, relax and digest our food. So why is the importance of this topic so important? It's because it what makes us or breaks us or makes us be able to survive or not survive. It's up to us individually. And we have sold out to a large degree who we are, what we are, and we're believing somebody else is going to take control and take charge of us. When we are individually made in the image and likeness of our Creator, and we have got to depend on God's method for our healing and our immunity, our digestion, and most of all, us staying well and being healthy. Okay, there we go here. Parasympathetic, got all that in there. When we when we get excited, stressed, or scared, the sympathetic nervous system draws our muscles up. It makes them tense. It makes our heart beat faster. And it moves blood away from our digestive organs to our muscles. Now, think about it for a moment. If something is taking something away, then something else is going to be disturbed and not work properly. So it gears up for action, but shuts down digestion and elimination. This gives us and explain why. It helps us explain why stress and anxiety make us tense, stress our heart, raise our blood pressure, and give us indigestion and make us constipated. What we're doing and how we respond is directly in correlation as to how we will deal with or not deal with what's going on in our life and our health. Now, listen carefully. I want you to understand that as we unwind and relax, the parasympathetic nervous system moves blood to the digestive system, relaxes muscles, and aids elimination. If you are relaxed, if you are in a position to be able to receive the power of what your body is trying to offer, then your body can heal itself. The body has a heck of a time dealing with tenseness and stress. But if it is relaxed and unwind, the parasympathetic nervous system takes the blood flow, the digestive system, and helps the organs that are related to digestion, and relaxes the muscles and aids elimination. Get rid of the crap. Get rid of the stuff that don't belong there, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There's a reason why people have traditionally made mealtime a time for relaxing and socializing. Do we do that now? Or is it grab and go and chomp down and swallow? We don't really chew. Oh, let me go way back. I'm sorry, in the beginning of the broadcast. How many times you chew your food? It's recommended 25 times per mouthful to masticate your food. And you said, ain't no way, Claiborne, I'm going to do that. There is a reason why people have traditionally made mealtime a time for relaxing and socializing. It aids in digestion. Our body also initiates healing and self-repair in a parasympathetic mode. So, sympathetic versus parasympathetic. That is really kind of cool. Nerves work by a combination of electrical impulses and chemical messages called neurotransmitters. When a neuron, a nerve cell, gets stimulated, it fires an electrical impulse that moves down the length of the cell at the far end of the neutron. The electrical impulse causes the nerve to release neurotransmitters into the gap known as the synapse, S-Y-N-A-P-S-E, between the nerves and the next one. The neurotransmitters crosses over the synapse to the next nerve cell and either stimulates or inhibits it from firing another electrical impulse. We talked in the beginning that we are electrical. We're electrifying. The disorders of neurotransmitters have greatly altered our understanding of nervous system problems. We now know that sleep, mood, appetite, and behavior are influenced by the different types of neurotransmitters, chemicals released in the brain and the nerves. Now, listen to this part here as to what some things get named, okay? Depression, addiction, mania, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, ADHD are some of the major disorders now known to involve imbalances in neurotransmitters. Talked about things like serotonin, acetylcholine, dopamine, GABA, other transmitters. These are very important for these substances to be there, and we are not poisoning our mind with the stuff that we're putting on there, and for it to have a difficult time working together. You know, let's see here. Did you know, that was a little emphasis on the side leaf of the book I'm looking at. We often hear about the dangers of lead, especially for children. And leaded paint is often pointed to as the main source of lead exposure. However, research points to another source, leaded gasoline, as being the primary culprit. While leaded gasoline is no longer available, it is still present in our environment and creates an exposure problem for children and adults today. There are things, serotonin, go back to that, although most commonly associated with eliminating depression, serotonin receptors have been found to control hunger, sleep, pain, the response to pain, seizures, and peristalsis, as well as function of the limbic system and brain. Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter that is involved in the memory and the muscle movement, making it primary a neurotransmitter in the voluntary muscle system. Alzheimer's disease is now believed to be caused by a destruction of the neurotransmitters in the brain that produce acetylcholine. So, deficiencies, excesses, and the reason I'm taking the time to talk about the nervous system, talk about why it's so important. Because we're in the middle of this emergency of not getting what we need. We've got to have more, got to be more. A group of neurotransmitters referred to as the catecholamines include epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Ketoncides are responsible for peripheral nervous system effects. Elevated blood pressure and blood sugar, muscle contracts, and the release of a thyroid-stimulating hormone from the pituitary, as well as central nervous system response involving respiration, psychomotor activity. They're the primary neurotransmitters in the sympathetic nervous system. Dopamine is another catecholamine responsible for sexual arousal and muscle coordination. It is the neurotransmitter that is deficient in those who suffer from Parkinson's disease. Again, destruction of the brain cells that produce this neurotransmitter is thought to be responsible. Where there are low levels of glutathione and intercellular antioxidant, or there is excess amount of iron, dopamine upgrades into free radicals. There are many other neurotransmitters, including histamine, endorphins, substance P, and nitric acid. Okay, if that is the case, what would be some things we need to do for basic nerve care in our brain? What would be some basic things we could do? And in other words, it's one thing for me to sit here and point things out to you and get you to say, oh, so what? I'm looking for a solution. I'm looking for an answer. I didn't even want to hear the first part of the program. I just want the answer as to what I need to do for me to be better. But if you don't know the reason, then you will not stick to it. If you don't believe that's not the case, how many people start diets, lose a little weight, and then all of a sudden they get it, man, I am perfect. And then all of a sudden, you go to mama's house, and you know doggone well you're going to have to eat a piece of that cake. Because that coconut or even that pineapple cake soaked with the pineapple juice, that soon as you put it on the plate, it falls apart. And just saying, I'm here for you. So if we're doing some things that may be good to the mouth, but not good to the rest of the body, then we're just not getting anywhere. I'm not doing my job for you. Your nerve system is probably the most nutritionally sensitive system of the body. Long before you develop actual physical conditions from poor nutrition, you'll feel the mental and emotional effects of lack of good nutrition. This includes fuzzy thinking. Some people call it brain fog. Absent-mindedness, mental confusion, and nervousness. Later, they develop into more serious problems such as chronic insomnia, anxiety, depression, and memory loss. Understanding the biochemical makeup of the brain and nerves is helpful in understanding how to nourish them properly. For starters, you ready now? We're going to get into answers. Your brain is 70% water. So it is very sensitive to dehydration. So if you want to think more, clearly that is, and protect your gray matter, start by drinking 1/2 ounce of water. How about this? 1 ounce of pure water for every pound of body weight every day. That's 75 ounces or a little more than 1/2 gallon for average 150-pound person. Okay? Water. Water, water. Okay? Take your body weight, divide it in half, that's the number of ounces. Next, 50 to 60% of dry weight of the brain is fat. Okay. With 35% of that being omega-3 fatty acids. You're starting to understand something about, I need some essential fatty acids? Yeah. So if you want to keep your brain healthy, you need to be a fathead. Yeah, a fathead. By eating the right kind of fats. The most abundant omega-3 fatty acid in the brain is DHA. DHA is essential for proper brain function and is found primarily in fish oil, especially cold water fish. DHA is available in a single supplement and is also found in various omega-3 products. We got it. Bottom of the screen. Come pick it up for you to get the brain working. All right. At the same time, please avoid hydrogenated oils, shortening and margarine, and trans fatty acids from processed and deep fried foods. Processed. These fats aren't good for your brain. We need a good brain food, not the bad brain food. Besides fat, the brain also needs amino acids like from protein. The neurotransmitters we mentioned earlier are built from amino acids. Meals containing adequate protein tend to increase levels of dopamine and norepinephrine, which result in a more alert mind and a better mood. Foods high in B vitamins are essential for lowering the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. B vitamins are involved in helping the formation of neurotransmitters such as dopamine, epinephrine, and serotonin. Let's talk about the brain and blood sugar. This is something that is just it's a horse that's got turned loose and it can't get him back in the corral. The brain consumes more blood sugar, that's glucose, than any other organ and takes its sugar up directly from the bloodstream without the need of insulin. The amount of sugar in your blood directly controls the amount of sugar reaching your brain. Too much sugar and the brain is overstimulated, which results in aggravation, irritation, and nervousness. Too little sugar in the brain conditions in hypoglycemia can cause mental confusion, irritability, shakiness, fatigue, cold nose and limbs, and cravings for sugar. So, blood sugar problems are linked to forgetfulness, anxiety, depression, mental confusion, age-related cognitive decline, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. Maybe we need to look at, is what I got going on in my body the results of what I'm not putting in my body or putting the wrong thing in my body? Although the brain needs sugar as an energy source, the simple sugars actually contribute to brain fog and mental decline. Consequently, select complex carbohydrates, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains Over foods contain refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, white flour, and other processing grains. Be sure to include high quality protein and fats with meals, as this stabilizes blood sugar levels and keeps the brain working better. So what is happening? You know, we go and we talk about the kids in school and so forth. Is it any way that it may be that we're poisoning the brain and the kids have to get ADD and ADHD, something for it to make it go away? Toxins can seriously damage the brain, especially fat-soluble toxins such as petrochemical solvents. Since the nervous system is composed primarily of fat, anything that will dissolve fats and oils, such as a stain remover, gasoline, and other solvents, can easily penetrate the skin and affect the nerves. The renowned toxicologist Warren Clough was one of the chemists who went into the Nazi chemical plants at the end of World War II and collected their research on chemical weapons. This technology, originally intended to harm and kill enemy combatants, was later used to develop pesticides and herbicides. Herbicides and pesticides came from toxic chemicals that were being manufactured to kill humans. The primary way that pesticides kill insects is by disabling their nervous system. It's not difficult to extrapolate the potential effects of pesticides on humans belongs who install small but constant doses of these chemicals in your food. Folks, we are a critical situation. There's just a few people making the foods that we all eat. I'm going to suggest strongly that if there's something that you like and you can take and grow it in a planter box, flower box, just make a little raised garden, do it. And then you know what's in there, and don't use the Roundup and other things that are being sued for causing us to be poisoned. Many of us also regulate exposure to heavy metals. The definition of heavy metals by chemists is actually problematic because there are heavy metals that are necessary nutrients for humans, such as iron, manganese, and zinc. Other heavy metals, however, like mercury, plutonium, and lead, are toxic. There are also metals that are actually physically light, like aluminum, yet are toxic to the human body. Some chemists suggest that the metals that damage the human body should be called toxic metals. For our purpose, heavy metals are defined as metals that are heavy, but as metals, they have a heavy or burdensome effect on the body. You're going to be surprised. I don't want to knock these out right quick, but pay attention very quickly as I get down to the list of what are considered toxic metals. Okay? There's a list of 38 symptoms associated with exposure to mercury, cadmium, lead, aluminum, and arsenic. Only 7 of these symptoms are not associated with the nervous system. This means about more than 3/4 of the toxic associated with the heavy metals directly affect the nervous system. Here's a complete list of substances to avoid if you want to have a heavy metal system. Avoid if you want to have a healthy nervous system. You ready? I didn't write these. I'm just reporting, okay? If you want to have a healthy nervous system, avoid pharmaceutical drugs, excessive consumption of alcohol, chemical solvents, pesticides and herbicides, excessive consumption of caffeinated beverages, coffee, black and green tea, caffeinated sodas, refined sugar and white flour, hydrogenated oils, animal fats from commercially raised animals. Those things are there that we need to stay away from. I'm going to talk about, right quick, in the last 6 minutes we have on the broadcast, helpful ways to manage your stress. We talked about it enough. Let's put a wrap up on this thing, okay? Stress has a negative impact on our body, and stressful experiences happen to everyone. That's the bad news. The good news is that we don't need to avoid stressful experiences. What we need are the tools and the skills that can help us manage the effects of stress in our life so we can bounce back to feeling relaxed and happy. That's how we started out the broadcast. Stress, what it's doing to us, and how it's changing us physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. All right. Let's see where you want to go so I can get it done in quiet. The fastest way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system is to restore calm and clear thinking, is to breathe deeply. Sympathetic breathing is rapid and shallow, so breathing deeply activates the parasympathetic nervous system. A simple technique is to breathe in deeply, thinking, I am, and exhale fully, thinking, relaxed. Breathe in, I am, relaxed. Repeat this process until you start to feel more calm. By deliberately breathing slowly and deeply, you will begin to immediately counteract the effects of stress and will be able to face your problems with a clear head. Stress relieving number 2, use adaptogens. And can result in clear thinking, increase immunity, and improve performance under stress. Stress reliever number 3, bees help you be calm. B vitamins are particularly important for the nervous system and energy production. By depleting these vitamins and refining carbohydrates, increase your anxiety and nervousness. To satisfy your carbohydrate cravings, look for the products made with whole grains and unrefined sugars, and consider taking a good anti-stress vitamin and mineral supplement. Talk to us at Remedy This Naturally about that. Number 4, physical relaxation. Let's get physical. Do some exercise. Do some things that help burn up and get you relaxed. Stress relieving, number 5, pamper yourself a little bit. Do something to help you understand that you're special and important. Avoid stress, soak in the bathtub. Do something that helps to bring you down to just not being stressed out, not being depressed. Depression, we need to overcome it. Don't want to use memory loss. Do try this at home. The eye's pupil contract under the influence of parasympathetic nervous system and enlarges under the sympathetic nervous system. So, one can tell whether a person is sympathetic or parasympathetic, made by looking at their pupils. Examine the eyes of a friend or a loved one and to see what nervous condition mode they're in. To make this activity even more fun, have friends or family members smell different essential oils, whether their pupil enlarges or contracts. Different essential oils affect the nervous system in different ways. Oils have like lavender, yang yang, chamomile, typical activate the parasympathetic nervous system, making one's pupil become smaller. Oils like lemon, rosemary, and pine will typically activate the sympathetic nervous system and cause the pupil to enlarge. Come talk to us about Brain Protects. Nature's Herbal Creations has Nutricom, 5-HTP. Those are 3 products that are helping to relax. Also, Chinese Formula Stress Relief and Ginkgo Gotacola with Boca and Mood Elevator. Those are some major things that help change your life and your health. It has been my honor and privilege to be able to bring you some things that I hope will change your life and your health, will get you closer to the Maker if they came to you and decided you were important to be here and you have a job and a necessity to get it done. Do not go to your grave before you complete your task that God has for you. Don't go and waste and let the cemetery be the one that's holding the joy and fulfillment of who you should be as a person. Be excited about, I am becoming and I am relaxing. Say it to yourself, get her done, and may God bless you richly, and may you continue to use Remedy This Naturally as a means to help you in your search for God's creation to be the most it can be, and that person is you. Take care. God bless. Claiborne Holtzman saying, thank you for caring about your love and your health and your well-being.